afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for investing your time this afternoon to spend here at the forum. My name is Marina Mrdjen. I'm a founder of Intelier. We're a marketing agency for construction design and architecture sectors, but I'm also a design journalist and your moderator for today's panel discussion. So we have truly an amazing panel titled, "Is Sustainable Design the New Gold Standard for Luxury Living?" But in reality, what does that truly mean? What is the process? What are the client's requirements? And what is the way forward? This is something I'm hoping we'll hear from today's discussion. We all know that whether out of necessity or choice, eco-friendliness and sustainability are becoming emerging core ideas as well in luxury residential market, and we want to hear more from our panelists. So before I introduce our amazing panelists, we're missing one. I would simply like to take the temperature of the room. So how many of you here are interior designers? Excellent. And how many of you are working within the luxury residential high-end projects? Okay, few hands. So I hope, as you can see, this place is designed as a campfire, right? It's designed to foster dialogue. So instead of us waiting till the end of discussion to ask questions, feel free to raise your hand, jump into discussion if you have any additional questions. Yes, let's just kind of keep it a two-way conversation as well. Okay, so as I said, our goal today is that you will come away with a fresh perspective on how design industry can reduce their carbon footprint. So before that, let me quickly start with introductions. So today with us, we have David Schill from Aritco. Thank you, David, for joining us.
Thank you.
Aritco is a Swedish-based elevator manufacturer, promoting both luxury living as well as sustainable practices, and the headline sponsor for all the talks at the forum. So thank you so much for supporting this year's Downtown Design. David has been with Aritco since 2016, where he's leading the brand and marketing development, as well as strategic CX on product portfolio. So I'm looking forward to insights from your angle as well. Meshary Nassar from Studio Meshary Nassar.
Hi.
So after getting his degree from the American University of Dubai, Meshary decided to go back to Kuwait and start his own company, which was one of the first studios in Kuwait dedicated solely to interiors. He is now between Kuwait and Dubai, which he now calls his home, and he's been working mostly with renovations and spatial design on relevant high-end residential projects. Thank you so much for joining today's discussion. And definitely, last but definitely not least, Sawsan Haber, founder and creative director of Dipuigi Interior Architecture Design. So Sawsan made her mark in design field since 1996 in her hometown Beirut, before moving to Dubai and expanding her firm back in 2003. Definitely a familiar and very recognizable face in design industry, frequent host and design TV shows as well, and a social media influencer, also known for so many interesting brand collaborations as well. When we look at your projects, you delivered some high-end residential for private clients, royalties as well. So definitely great to have you on this panel discussion.
Thank you. Thank you so much to have me.
Perfect. Okay. So as I said, feel free to jump in the middle of the conversation. Obviously, we want to keep it as a two-way conversation. But before we start, I just want to crunch some numbers with all of you. What is luxury real estate market at the moment looking like, right? We all talk about this huge design boom, this huge real estate boom, especially when we talk about Dubai. Either it's influenced by geopolitical situation, Dubai government handling great COVID and post-COVID situation. So if we look at, for example, some of the numbers, just to crunch some numbers for all of you, according to Handling Global, 4,000 high net worth individuals are expected to relocate to UAE by the end of this year. According to Dubai Land Department data, the luxury housing market rose by incredible 61% from Q2 in 2021 to Q2 in 2022. So it's a remarkable growth in just 12 months. Additionally, if you look at Saudi's giga projects that are really now taking shape, such as Amala and the Red Sea project, they are also expected to create a brand new luxury residential market and drive that demand. We spoke about the situation in Kuwait, and Meshary will share some insights, but Kuwait is currently probably one of the most expensive square foot in the world when it comes to real estate. So we also want to understand that process. So starting just maybe, Meshary, with you, from your perspective, what do you see as the economic factor and potential that's currently driving the luxury housing market?
So the luxury housing market, if we're going to talk about Dubai, there's a lot of availabilities in terms of different kind of genres of accommodation. You've got the apartments, you've got the townhouses, the villas, and then the bigger villas. If I'm going to talk about Kuwait in a sense, you've got mainly villas. Apartments are not very widespread in Kuwait. The reason why the square meter is in Kuwait is the most expensive in the world, well, the reason is actually not very known, but it kind of affected the way people function in terms of how housing is being sold, how it's being treated. If you think about young couples in the GCC, when they want to get married and buy a house, in Dubai you have different options of like a studio, one bedroom, three bedroom, up to a house. In Kuwait there are no options at all. So what's happening is people are finding different ways to create housing that is kind of affordable, somewhat sustainable, and it has been really affecting the way we see accommodation in Kuwait. But in contrast with Dubai, it's extremely different. And sustainability plays a huge factor in terms of materiality, the design itself. So it all depends on the location and the economy itself.
Thank you so much. We'll get back to that. If you can share some insights from the projects that we just discussed. Sawsan, from your angle, what do you think is driving that market at the moment?
What I feel is that there is more than one factor. It's not just one single factor. You know, this market has a boom in the luxury. It's not just a small boom. It's honestly a big boom. And I believe this is due to the migration of millionaires. If we see that latest studies, there is huge amount of movement of millionaires, especially after COVID, that they decided to change the way and the location where they want to spend their life. And I think this is something a bit revolutionary because before, we never had that. Before, for example, the wealthy, they belong to their land, they belong to their country. You feel now like the whole earth is the country of every single person. So when COVID happened and some governments had very severe restrictions to certain individuals who has the power and the possibility to live elsewhere. So at the first opportunity, they started looking for somewhere else to live. And luckily, this region has gained this trust. One, due to how the government handled the pandemic, this is one. Second, also the weather. The weather here, even though it's hot during summer, but during the good weather, it's really attractive to many Europeans, to different people all over the world. So I feel also it attracted that. And we need to also remember that Dubai, UAE, and the region in general was always a place where we deal with luxury. We deal with luxury goods. It's a shopping place and a touristic place, so it's known about that. And on top of this, you have how it's promoted worldwide. So it's an attractive place, it's an attractive location. So if you have the money, why you want to go sit in a place where you're stuck, where you have so many restrictions, you have so many taxes to pay, and so of course you will come to a place with a good lifestyle, you will spend your money there, you do business there. So I believe this is what happened, like the migration of millionaires is what made this happen, and Dubai and UAE and the region attracted those people. And that's why we feel this boom, because the boom is not same like the real estate boom back in 2008. At that time, 2007, 2008, the real estate boom was about investment. So people used to spend, to invest, and make money. With the money that sometimes they didn't have. They used to take a loan just to make money, buy an apartment here, an office here, something there. But today we feel no, we feel the transactions that happened, it's all in luxurious home and high-end homes, means those people are coming here to live here, to spend here, to move their families here, and to create business here. So it's totally different, because sometimes pessimistic people, you hear them say, after this boom, there is a crash, same what happened back in 2008, and it's totally different in my opinion.
And when you mentioned about the marketing and social media, I guess Dubai Bling did some good to it as well.
Yeah, yes, of course, it's projecting, a certain lifestyle, and everyone wants to live this lifestyle. And you know what? Something extremely important. Maybe, sorry, I'm talking a lot, but I have so much to say about this subject, because also the social media boom created, let's say this, created that before the houses were our private places. The wealthy, when they wanted to show off or to show their wealth, it wasn't the cars, it wasn't the bags and the outfits when they go out. The home was just for, let's say, local people. They used to invest in their houses. And I know this from my clientele back since 2000 until now. So the major clientele who used to pay were the local, were used to pay big amount. Expats and residents in UAE, they didn't spend so much, even though they were wealthy, but they believed that this money should go back to their homes and their own country. Today, this changed. There is a trust in the country. People, they no longer trust their own countries, and they are trusting this area and this region and this country in specific, and they are like investing in their homes. And they felt that, due to experience also, that when they are investing in their homes, it's reflected economically and financially on them, and then they can sell it anytime and then make profit. So it's a win-win situation. They will live the lifestyle, they will live the luxury, and at the same time, the moment they want to sell this house, immediately they can sell it and not lose money. At the opposite, they will make a huge amount.
Yes, and we can all confirm the prices rise as well. Okay, we'll get back to that, because now, obviously, yeah, we know that there is an appetite for that, but we also have to understand, are they making some more sustainable choices when it comes to the luxury real estate? So, David, going back to you, I would like to hear your perspective when it comes to economic factor and potential that's actually driving this market.
Let's see, there. I think looking at the market from an outside perspective, you can really see a couple of common denominators happening all around the world that actually affects also the real estate market here, and that's people getting older. We live much longer. So the ones that actually, was about to move out before they got too old, they want to stay in their houses. So the young guys coming in, they need a new house. And all by 2020, I think somewhere around 18-19% of the population in the area was about above 70 years old. In 5 years, we're talking about 23-24% of the population is going to be above 70 years old. And just because you are getting older, you don't want to live in an ugly house or a smaller house. This will drive absolutely continuous growth of the real estate market. You also have another trend that is really interesting, and that is that some of the countries around UAE is needing to do the same journey as UAE, because we need to go fossil free. So that means that there is a huge demand for new setups of new vacation cities, new real estate that actually is coming around. So the phenomena that you have had in UAE, which is still really strong, the Airbnb phenomena, where you need to attract a lot of different types of target groups, is going to happen in other countries around. So here is a huge growth of the potential in the real estate market. And by the way, since we're getting older, we also need to attract the older people that actually also want to go for an Airbnb, and they have the money.
No, for sure, and that's something we're going to be discussing later. Meshary, you wanted to add something on this?
I think the concept of luxury is really shifting in the region, especially with Khaliji consumers. People no longer care about the size plot and the chandeliers and the glam and the gold. They care about indoor, outdoor quality. And you see this in Dubai Creek Harbor, the island on the creek. It's the first Ahmad property that they've done ground floor units overlooking the park. So people are really kind of trying to I think the companies are really trying to introduce different kinds of housing that will attract different genres and different age groups as well as different nationalities to accommodate. For example, people from the Levant, they want outdoor space because they enjoy barbecuing, they enjoy family gatherings. That is now being catered for through different companies, and you notice that. So there is a shift, but I think it's expanding in the right way, honestly.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Now, obviously, title of this is Luxury Meets Sustainability. We know that historically developers and architects haven't had sustainability at the forefront when it comes to their design. I'm just going to, in the past 2 years, Google searches for luxury brands plus sustainability have risen by 46%, while a recent study revealed 4 in 5, so 80% of luxury customers prefer brands that are socially responsible. By the way, this is actually revealed in Aritco's latest trend report that we can share with everyone. But looking at your current projects, are sustainable practices being implemented out of necessity or a choice? Maybe Sawsan, we can start with you.
Okay, it's a really nice question. I believe it's both. And it's both, and it's due to different reasons. One, the new generation that we are catering for, which is the people born in the 90s, the millennium, and soon the Z generation that we will be catering for as well, are totally different in terms of mentality compared to the previous generation when it comes to luxury. One, they are more exposed. So they are exposed. They know that this is their future. So they know that those things will impact not only one person, it's going to impact the whole earth. And that, as I said before, they believe because they are connected, we're connected through socially, online, everywhere. So since we're connected and they believe that the whole earth is their home, so they are really aware about that problem. Unlike our parents and grandparents, they never heard about it. Maybe the first time they heard that, oh, we have a problem in the ozone, it was like, oh my God, we're gonna die, you know? So they never knew the actual problem. It was for them just a catastrophe happening, like a volcano or something. So I believe that when it comes to luxury, when it comes to buying a house or designing a house, they have a totally different vision. As he said, that before the chandelier, the bling bling and all this was like the main luxury look. Now it's no longer that. And when I say it's no longer that, then we say then how it is. It's basically having elements that has a feeling, that will let the person feel that he's contributing to a bigger cause. And with the presence of social media, every single individual, and you can feel it, like every person when he's putting on his profile on Instagram or something, they want to give more than just a photo, than just, I'm just a person. They try always to take a cause and they say, we have this cause, we're following this cause. So when the person feels he's following a bigger cause, and what's bigger and what's attractive than the sustainability cause, like, because this is their future at the end of the day. So you feel this, they are attracted to that. So basically, when I say they are no longer looking for a chandelier, yeah, they are not. They are looking for more daylight in the house, bigger openings where the light can enter. They are looking for ways where they don't use power, right? So when, for example, when I say necessity, yeah, of course, when it's necessity, like we use solar panels to reduce the power, we do certain measures that are really a necessity. But it's also a necessity to cater to those clients, because catering to those clients is a necessity for interior designers and for people into the luxury field. And you have, as he said the older generation who has the money. But today we have a new millionaires. We have young millionaires. They have a totally different mindset. And those, they are either from the reality TV shows or from the social media, you know, and those young millionaires, they want to show the identity they have in their homes. And what's better than having sustainable items, sustainable product? And since this is really expensive, then they feel, okay, we're paying a lot for this, but this has value.
And it has a message. And I like what you said, buying luxury brands means products that last. At the end of the day, sustainable products are durable products. David, we had earlier discussion as well about that as well. So what's your take on the topic?
I think we have to remember that we still want to consume. Yeah, we still want to do the different experiences. So the challenge lays more or less in how do we do that then in a sustainable way, because we know for a fact that we need to change. The luxury, as you say, also sets a little bit of a framework for this, because right now it's very expensive to be sustainable. So building your brand, like you say, in this is really, really attractive. The second part is that it's the opportunity in the amount of people having the money to actually broaden the way for everybody else. So we have some kind of a responsibility also, as having the money, being possible to do the sustainable choice. We are also opening up for the world, for the rest of the world, in making some products that will be consumed in a more sustainable way along the way. So I think here is we need to start thinking how things will last. Take for an example, it's a huge difference between where we are in how we think about real estate and properties. In Europe, most architects have a mindset of building a house or a property that should last 100 years. That's their mindset. It needs to overlive themselves. In China today, the mindset is 35 years. So of course it will not be sustainable if everybody is thinking 35 years. And of course it will be a route, because you cannot maybe demand from everybody to actually think 100 years ahead right now, but there needs to be. So the ones that have the means have also the opportunity to drive that. So there are multiple angles on this that I think are really interesting.
True, and as you said, then people who work in the realms of luxury real estate market can have actually be at the forefront of that. So Meshary, from your angle, do you still think it's a necessity or is it a choice when it comes to projects?
I think it's still very questionable, because pre-COVID, when you thought sustainability, you thought inconvenience. We focused so much on plastic straws before the pandemic, and solar panels seemed like an inconvenience. They seemed difficult, a bit expensive. I think post-COVID, if it's post, it's the small little steps as we go. It's the not building all the way, like in terms of your plot. It's adding more landscape. It's introducing outdoor furniture. It's introducing materials that are earthy. Even like if you notice the trends in interior design, earthiness and stucco and linens and that very like organic design became super trendy in the past 2 years. People during lockdown really realized what's important, which is being closer to sunlight, natural sunlight. Us as humans, we gravitate towards natural sunlight. And you notice that in any apartment or house, you kind of always want to sit next to the window. And people are realizing that sustainability doesn't have to be a solar panel. It's how we consume and how we spatial design and how we kind of interact within a space. So it is a questionable choice, but I think it depends on the experiences.
And just building on what you're saying, it is quite interesting, you could say, that chopping wood today would be very unsustainable. But we also have a problem with underwater forests. So, for instance, there is an underwater forest outside Tasmania that one of the architect agencies in the Nordic, Snøhetta, has brought up wood to make the utmost delicious furniture. And isn't that special? And wouldn't that be luxury? And wouldn't that be something that you really have a great story to tell about? This is what I actually can drive forward, being in the forefront.
And the materiality, by the way, I think materiality, like materials that are sustainable, are attractive now. They're no longer ugly and fiber looking, they're more attractive. So you can notice that in the furniture these days.
Exactly.
Yes, yes.
Yes, before it was like when you say sustainability in homes, it was like more rubbery or just recycled items and all this stuff. Today you find amazing porcelain slabs that are sustainable, or let's say sustainable friendly. Then you say as well some ceramics for sanitary ware and this kind of stuff also. The companies are introducing to create those pieces with sustainable measures. So I believe it's becoming really a trend for the future, and like each company is introducing this in their product. And I feel as well that the luxury brands have a really high chance here. Why? Because already they are halfway, because they have good products and their product lasts. And when you buy brand, it's like you will not throw it after 3-4 years. You're gonna keep it, even if it's a couch or even if it's a bag or even if it's any piece of furniture. When you're spending so much on a value piece and it's branded, you will take care of it and you're gonna let it last. And then sometimes you will give it to your children and it's gonna stay, even if it's like it becomes an iconic piece. And I believe buying and having in the house those pieces, those statement pieces, iconic pieces, pieces that has stories, authenticity, how it was built, from where the material, who did it, which craftsmanship. True, this is expensive, but you don't need to have so many and very busy interior of that. You can just have only few pieces, and those pieces with sentimental effect will remain and it will last. So if it's had the quality and the longevity, and it's gonna stay, and then you will give it, I believe, to your children. Like there's so many examples of that.
Okay, thank you so much. So when we discuss the way forward, I wanted us to discuss from a very specific angle, especially because we are seeing this as emerging trend globally, but as well as now in the region. This is when we talk about short-term luxury rentals, right? Maybe 2-3 years ago, there wouldn't be any listed property on Airbnb from this region, but we're seeing a huge boom in that area. Just some more stats for everyone. So B&B ME, which operates nearly 150 properties across the UAE and India, is, for example, now planning to expand in Saudi Arabia, starting with seaside villas in Dammam and spacious apartments in Mecca. And obviously, everyone is talking about this need for a privacy, but also that kind of luxury hospitality feel, especially after post-COVID. Now, obviously, when we look at short-term rental industry, they also come with a lot of sustainability challenges that you wouldn't find in regular hotels. On the other hand, they are more sustainable because obviously they have much smaller carbon footprint than hotels who are operating 24/7. In Airbnb's survey, this is a global survey, they say 88% of hosts adopt some form of green practices, either including 59% recycling, 39% providing public transportation information, 47% providing bulk toiletries. So this is globally, not in the region, exactly. Region, we are still doing baby steps, right? again, from your perspective, your client's perspective, do you feel the regional luxury holiday home market is on the rise? And if so, what are some of the ways to make luxury short-term rental more sustainable? Because obviously we're at the beginning of this stage and trend. So, Meshary, maybe we can start with you for this one.
I think short rental businesses have always been available in the region, but it was never regulated. Before Airbnb, even in the GCC, there was a lot of like short-term rental apartments, housing, and so on. The structure wasn't there. But now people are looking for experiences. If you want luxury, like if you want to go to the Bulgaria or the Oman or the Four Seasons, it's available. It's an experience, but not everyone wants to pay that price. Even if you can afford it, sometimes you don't want that experience. You want something else. And I feel like Airbnb, as well as the other websites and all these companies, are introducing all these different short-term rentals. Definitely less consumption, toiletries on its own, the amount of toiletries, and like the bed sheets, the daily washing of the sheets, the towels, all that stuff. And then Airbnb, as a consumer, you have control over how much you wash, your towels, everything else. You are responsible for the amount of usage. In hotels, you don't. Therefore, I feel like the power now is with the consumer, not with the hospitality sector. This is why I feel like this is booming. But again, I think it's more like people are really into experiences. When you come to Dubai now, you don't want to stay at a lavish, massive resort. Maybe you do. I don't judge you. But maybe you just want to feel like a local. Maybe you just want to stay in a nice little apartment on Jumeirah Road and walk down to the beach, and you just want to live that life. And I feel like this is why this is booming. And you can see it on TikTok. It's all over TikTok now, is people finding these hidden gems of Airbnbs around the city, which is fascinating.
Perfect, and I've seen this trend increase in Saudi especially. You have dedicated websites where people want to show true Saudi hospitality as well, which means opening their homes or vacation homes to tourists and as well as other guests. David, from your experiences, Aritco works across the Middle East. What's your experience when it comes to short-term rentals?
For us, short-term rentals mean more or less how can we as a company make the short-term rentals more available to a larger group of people. Doing elevators or doing lifts for homes, of course, that makes us to challenge both from a sustainable point of view, but also from a design point of view. How do you make your lift actually look as good so they can fit in here? Because it is the experience. Then it is the experience of both the staying in the home, staying in the environment, having the social areas around, having the short walk to the beach, etc., etc. So it's both the villa itself that needs to actually deliver the experience, as well as the surroundings. So, and here, of course, for the short-term rentals, you want to attract as many as possible. And talking about the different target groups, of course, we see that becoming elderly, you are still seeking these experiences. It's not just because I got 10 years older the last 10 years, I don't like the same type of experiences, but I maybe need a little bit of other tools to make it. So, and I'm having a little bit more feeling for comfort. So I would like to do it in another way, but it's the same experiences, and we need to reach out to larger target groups. That's how we help the industry of this kind.
And I feel like about Saudi, the point about Saudi opening up to the world right now, they're so excited to show people their country. Saudi is a massive country. There's so much to see. And architecture is different in Jeddah, and Riyadh, and Dammam, all around, even in Abha. Al-Ula is heavily advertised, but the other areas have so much to show. So I feel like the Saudis are just extremely excited for the world to see the real Saudi, what we know. So the level of hospitality is very high, and therefore you see everyone opening their homes, wanting people to experiment the real Saudi house and the hospitality. And the rise in the Airbnbs and short-term rentals in Saudi is exciting because you've never experienced it before. All the old architecture in Jeddah, which is fascinating. You get a chance to live in those houses that were built like hundreds of years ago and just really feel what it's all about. So definitely it will boom in Saudi for sure, just like it did in Dubai at the beginning, and it still is in Al Fahidi district.
Yeah. Thank you. Sawsan, do you have anything to add on this topic?
Yeah, I have something. I want to say that I agree with them about the experience and living the experience in short-term rentals. But the only thing is that from a sustainability point of view, short-term rentals, one, in this region, they are not really regulated. So this is if we're talking sustainability. At least like in Europe, you will have the waste segregation. You have so many things that you feel that you're doing something regarding the subject. Unlike here, it doesn't. We don't have it yet. It can be regulated though, but it's not yet. And second, it's because the profit and the high margin profit is the main target, let's say, in those kind of rentals. You will end up using a very cheap furniture, and you will end up using, okay, maybe it will look good, they will just paint the wall and they will put anything, the finishing is bad.
IKEA.
Yeah, exactly. No, well, IKEA,
No offense to IKEA.
I don't want to talk brands, but it's the problem is that it will last just for 1 year or two, and that's it. So this is creating a huge wastage, in terms of finishing, in terms of even like when they renovate those spaces, it's renovated in an extremely cheap way because it's a short-term rental. So I think it must be regulated on a higher scale, not also or just on a small scale or personal scale or individuals who own those apartments. It should be really regulated in terms of what kind of level of finishing can be used. I don't know if this is even possible, but if we're gonna talk sustainability, we need to take some extreme measures because this is gonna grow. This has a huge potential and a huge market. So if it's gonna grow more and more, then we're not having the right measures in this subject. I believe that.
But obviously, as you mentioned, there are probably also in this segment also two levels of Airbnb, right? Your regular, more affordable Airbnb. So yes, you can stay in Dubai and feel like you're in Finland because you have the same setup, or the more luxury ones that maybe could potentially drive the sustainability. Okay, I just got a notice that we have about 5 minutes left. So I'm just mindful of time and definitely would like to take some more questions on this particular topic if anyone has any questions.
Hi, good evening. So I wanted to touch on one thing. So when we're talking about short-term rentals, right? So you spoke about how longevity is very important when it comes to sustainability. For short-term rentals, also there's another point of keeping it trendy and more relatable or more relevant. So how do you think those two come in conjecture, and how can we put that into practice?
Timeless design. Timeless design. Because good design actually does not have a out of date. And the longevity and durability of great design is a must to actually push together. And I think the examples that you show on your websites and in your social media, fantastic. They are really beautiful, many of them very, very durable design. This will stay for 10, 15, 20, many, many years ahead. And I think that is how we have to think. I need to design things, products, houses, interiors that actually will overcome my life age, my lifespan. So that's the only way to do it. And I think in the long run, that will also attract. When I look at a website, Airbnb, and looking for some short-term rentals, I would like to have this experience that is really, really nice in the house, not only just the place. So I think it goes hand in hand, but very good design needs to be durable.
And I think there's a point that I wanted to mention earlier, even with Samson, when she mentioned is consumer behavior in terms of price tag. When you invest, I don't want to say expensive, large amount in a very well-designed Italian, handmade, good fabric piece, it will stay for 15 years and you can inherit it to different people and it can be repurposed and reupholstered. Meanwhile, when you buy a very cheap quality, very cheaply priced product, within a year or two you have to replace it. So the heavy rotation of and usage of those products, which is not timeless at all, it really affects the consumer behavior. But investing in good pieces that will last, I think, is the key for sure.
Yeah, and it's recyclable.
Yeah.
We're talking about circularity. When I would like to renovate or exchange my environment, I sell and I buy something other secondhand. So it is the circularity that we need to get.
I believe, I just want to say one sentence because I truly believe in this thing, is that for me, sustainability in luxury, it's really simple. It's great design, specifying great material, and executing it in a great way. So if we can manage to have those three together, we will end up having a sustainable, luxurious design that will last forever.
Perfect. Thank you all so much. Nikki Bissiker unfortunately wasn't able to join today's discussion. She got stuck in a really bad traffic around the AFC, which we all know. But I just want to finish with one quote that Nikki shared with me. She said, the luxury market can afford to be more conscious about its contribution towards planet conservation, which I think in the end is summing up what we discussed, that the topic starts there.
100%.
For sure, and it's attractive. That's what we know.
Yes.
80% of them really would like to go sustainable. Who's buying luxury?
Yeah, it is attractive because also just to mention this before finishing that, all high-end brand, all luxurious brand are taking this route now. And if you see, this is in their plan for the coming years to create more luxurious products that are sustainable and eco-friendly.
And it looks good. It looks
Exactly.
good. Yes.
Yeah. Perfect. Thank you all so much. There is one more quote from Nikki. She says, design is easy, as simple as 1, 2, and revision 33. So, yes, I'm sure all of you will continue to have this fight. Thank you once again, everyone,
Thank
for
you very
joining
much.
us.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you so much.